I will say people don't hesitate to ask me to buy cookie dough or wrapping paper
Right.
or, chocolate covered almonds or whatever it
Hmm.
is. And those things might be nice in the moment, but that's not life or death. So this matters far more.
Since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the pro-life movement has changed, and so has the way we fight for the unborn. Many celebrated and stepped back, thinking the war was over, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Abortion didn't end, it just slipped out of sight. And when no one is watching, injustice thrives. We're here to show you why the battle still rages on and how to stand, speak, and fight back in a post-Roe world. This is the CPC Podcast.
Welcome back to the CPC Metro Podcast, everybody, and welcome in if you guys are new. My name's Chrissy. I'm so excited about the show that we have for you today because we are going to be talking about a very special event that is close to my heart with a guest that is even closer to my heart. But as always, in the studio with us today is our executive director, my friend, and the Batman to my Robin, Miss Erin Kate Good. What's up, Erin Kate? How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about our CPC Metro LifeWalk.
And for those who don't know, I know we hit on it a little bit on the last show at the tail end there. Could you just give everybody a quick recap of what LifeWalk is? Because I feel like there may be a little bit of a misunderstanding about what it is and what it is not.
Sure. So our LifeWalk is the CPC Metro's largest fundraiser of the year. So it is, first and foremost, a place where we do raise vital support for our ministry that we use throughout the year to serve women and children and families in our community. It is not an athletic event.
Right.
So that all of a sudden opens it up for a lot more people. We're not out there to race. If you want to get through the walk first, great, fine.
Right.
We're not really interested. We are just glad that you show up and you're a part as a fundraising walker. So it is really a community-wide event. It is a family-friendly event, and it's where churches in our community show up and represent the body of Christ and the culture of life here in Jackson.
Right. And we just kind of wanted to get that out into the open on the front end of this show because LifeWalk is one of our favorite events. And some of our favorite people from CPC, it's really like a big family reunion. And so we have one of our favorite people here who is a real LifeWalk superstar. And I'm going to let Erin Kate tell you who that is.
Sure. We have Sydney Charlton. Sydney serves as a missions associate at Cross Gates Baptist Church. And so her church has partnered with us for many, many years at CPC. Sydney is also a Mississippi Christian Living Magazine's Ministry Leader of the Year award recipients last year for Mississippi Christian Living Magazine. So that's awesome. She's a leader in our community, and her family has been involved with CPC for a long time. And we're just so excited to talk to her. She's a really fun person to get to know.
She
So
is.
I'm excited about just talking with her today.
Sydney, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you are a longtime friend of the CPC. Could you just tell us a little bit about how you got involved with our ministry?
Absolutely. So shortly after college, I would go to the Pearl location years ago, as I'm not a recent college graduate. So when I finished undergrad, I found myself going and meeting with Miss JT, occasionally to mop floors and fold donated baby items. That was what the need was, so that's what I tried to help meet. And then things have evolved a little bit as my ministry roles have shifted. One of the best things about getting involved with CPC is there's always something I can point others to be able to get into. So that's volunteers from our church, other staff members, but my favorite is getting to see my family serve together, CPC, with the CPC in different ways, and LifeWalk is one of the things that we just can't miss because my girls look forward to it every single year.
Absolutely. LifeWalk is so fun. And for a lot of people, I think LifeWalk is an on-ramp to
Absolutely.
volunteering. If you have never done anything with CPC before, but you really want to jump on board, LifeWalk that's when I joined on to
That's
the
right.
CPC. 6 years ago, this is kind of like an anniversary for me because it was around this time 6 years ago that I knew of the CPC. I wanted to do something, and it just so happened that LifeWalk was coming up. And so to anybody out there who is listening to this, who is in the same place, you know of the organization, you may not know anybody, but if you want to have an opportunity to jump on board and see what this is all about, LifeWalk is the perfect time to
right.
do that. And
That's
we
right.
are just about to kick off LifeWalk. So, Erin Kate, could you tell us about the kickoff event that's coming up?
Yes, so we kick off the event on Tuesday, March the 3rd. And so that event is just for people who want to be a team captain, who want to represent their church or a team. You can have a team as a business or just a friend group that wants to get together and start a team. You just send one person, one or two. You really can send two people, a co-captain,
Yeah.
to this event. You'll get everything you need to know to go back to your church or back to your team to recruit fundraising walkers. So we'll give you materials. We'll talk to you about the goal. We'll talk to you about some strategy about how you network through the church and through the community, and tell you all about the incentives, the prizes, all those things. It's just a fun event. You'll get to see who else is going to be out there that day, what churches are going to be represented, and that is Tuesday, March 3rd, and you can sign up through our office for that event.
And Sydney, how many times have you served as an ambassador?
Oh, mercy.
I know it's several.
Several times since 2018, I believe, is whenever I first
Right.
got involved. So one of the biggest things for me is being able to really explain, because like Erin Kate said, it's not a sporting event.
Right.
And this isn't like a marathon.
Right.
But it's a fun event for everybody to come to, because it's really, like you said, a family reunion, a party of sorts where we get to celebrate what the Lord is doing in our community and beyond through the work of the CPC. So I know that we've had some volunteers help me as ambassadors before, so I don't know, several times since
Right.
2018.
But you keep coming back.
Absolutely.
And one
absolutely.
thing that I have noticed, not just through LifeWalk, but in other areas of CPC, is that your girls love the organization just as
Absolutely.
much. And so I
Absolutely.
kind of want you to talk a little bit to us about how, I mean, our claim to fame for LifeWalk is that it's a family event.
Right.
The biggest family event that we have this year. And so if you want to be a pro-life parent, what better way to get your children, to have a teachable
Absolutely.
moment than to get them involved in raising money for LifeWalk? So how do you do it?
One of the things that Joseph, my husband, and I have talked about over the years is we can disciple our girls in all kinds of ways. Parents choose to disciple, even through sports, which that is not us. But everything that we do is really a teachable moment of sorts. And so if we want to instill the same sort of values in our girls who are now 10 and 8, we want them to understand what it means to be pro-life, then we have to do things that show that. We can't just talk about
Absolutely.
it. And now there are different organizations and different ways to give. We need that. But if we're not actively serving in different ways in the community, then our girls aren't going to catch the vision.
Right.
Okay? And if they don't see us doing it, then they're probably not going to replicate that whenever they're out of the house.
That's right.
And so with our girls, their names are Ada and Ellen, they get real passionate about just talking about the importance of seeing every person as an image bearer. Now, there are different ways to talk about this with children, but we don't get to place more or less value on someone based on the circumstances of their conception.
Right.
We don't get to do that. If we trust the Lord to bring about life and know that He's the one who gives life, and He calls us all His image bearers, period. Everybody has great value. And that's what we've tried to instill in our girls, to the point where we've gotten lots of reports from teachers of how they take a stand
Yeah.
in the classroom
Yeah.
and on the playground about how we want all babies to live. And a lot of that is they understand, in my role at the church and in the community, that we also care for the moms. And
That's
that's
right.
one thing that we talk about a lot with our children, is the importance of caring for the mom completely, not just while she's pregnant, but we care about her deeply when she is trying to learn how to parent. And we also care about the father. So because they're all image bearers, the mom, the dad, and the child, they're all image bearers of God. So we care about it all. And that's one reason why it's so easy to partner with CPC, because you guys do a phenomenal job caring for the whole family unit if everybody's present, and caring for even the women who have made a really hard decision and are trying to overcome a lot of those things that they have faced. But the abortion recovery program, it's phenomenal in a way that only the Lord could orchestrate, just the heart behind that. And so CPC cares about all of the circumstances that anyone can face whenever you're talking about something as difficult as abortion and being pro-life. We care about every single detail. Even whenever
That's
a
right.
woman makes a decision and then regrets it. And then she's dealing with all of the weight and shame. We get to rise up and be the church and love her where she is and show her that Jesus cares enough about her that he died and he paid the sacrifice for her sin as well.
Right. It's more than just typing your opinion
Correct.
into a comment box.
And more than diapers. We need diapers.
Sure.
But moms need a whole lot more support. And so it's not convenient to be pro-life all the time, because that comes with making sure you're available for the moms who need you. It's making sure that you're willing to help take kids to school, which that's not always easy, even for us. Like we pick up different children, take them to school and whatnot, but we care about those moms enough to be supportive. So our girls see that, not just with LifeWalk, because that's a really fun event, but they're also inconvenienced when we're trying to stop at different neighborhoods to pick up friends whose parents don't have a spouse to help.
Mm-hmm. No, that's an excellent point. And it kind of reminded me of that verse in James that says, not many of you should be teachers because you who teach will be judged more strictly. And so basically just if you say you are pro-life, you better be ready to live pro-life.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Not just,
one of my favorite parts about LifeWalk is we get to prove the other side wrong.
Right.
Because there's a lot that we might not be unified on. Mm-hmm. We might have different worship styles. We don't care about all that. We don't care what political party you're a part of. What unifies us is understanding that we love the Lord and we care about his people. And if we really care about his people, then that means from conception until they pass, we care about the whole person. So we get to be unified in a way that shows the other side of things. You're wrong. We do care.
Absolutely.
And we're going to stand together. And all these other things that are minor issues, those all kind of dissipate once you enter the walk, because, not just because of bounce houses and food vendors and all that's fun, but there's a unification that happens because the Lord binds our hearts.
Yes. And I've noticed that too. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not just a Baptist church thing. Right. You get there and you see your Catholic brothers and sisters and Methodists and Presbyterians and every denomination. Nobody's getting in petty arguments about doctrine with each other. It is, we are unified because God says that every life is worthy of protection and every life matters. And so there's just this air of peace, when the church comes together, and you can see that. When you see the picture where the drone pans out and you see all of us together, it's just a really, really special thing.
Well, part of that is there's other brothers and sisters who have influence that I never will, and there's fears. And that just speaks to how the gospel is supposed to spread. And like we talk about with CPC, this issue of abortion is a gospel issue. So if we don't continue to stand together and lock arms on the forefront of this fight, then how in the world are the congregations going to get behind us? Because people think if they just throw money at an issue, it'll resolve itself. We need funding. So hear me say, we need supporters. We need life champions. But we can't just say that's the work of the CPC to figure all this out. They need people. And the LifeWalk is a really fun way to get involved in that.
Right. And I know that you're at Crossgates. And so Crossgates is another very generous church. They're generous in their giving of their resources, but also the Embrace Grace program. Could you talk to us a little bit about your experience with Embrace Grace? We've talked a little bit about it here and there before, but kind of break down what it looks like so that everybody can know.
Yeah. So because of my role at the church, we rely heavily on volunteers. So I've got 2 phenomenal volunteers who serve weekly with Embrace Grace. So I just kind of facilitate the behind the scenes, making sure they have a classroom to meet in, making sure that they've got dinner, snacks, whatever they need, and then getting the baby shower scheduled, because that's the big component. So there are women in our community who are referred to us. Most of them have come to us from CPC, who may have been abortion-minded whenever they came to the center, and they get plugged into Embrace Grace. They choose to come to a class closest to their church, to their home. So based on where they live, they can put it in Embrace Grace's website and find out where the classes are going to start, how many miles it is from their house, because a lot of people don't have reliable transportation. So they need to be able to get there each week. It's a 12-week class. They go through, it's way deeper than just your surface level discipleship. And so one of the biggest things is at the end of their class, they get a baby shower. Now, we've done this different ways for each mom. I don't even remember what semester we're on, but we've got some moms that we've been working with. But part of the thing with Embrace Grace that's been so beautiful is the moms who come to us who already have children and they get plugged into our church in some sort of way and find a home. Children who might not have been taken to class, but because we're willing to feed them and feed their mother each Wednesday when they're there, it matters. So if you're struggling and you need help to even find, extra cash to pay bills, a free meal once a week matters. And so if that's what draws them in, so be it. But
Right.
we've had people come to know the Lord. We've had just a lot of really neat experiences with connections. And I will say our volunteers stay in touch with those moms to the point where they're checking in way after they've had their babies and even caring for the girls who have endured miscarriage. So taking flowers to them, taking meals to them, all of that matters.
Right. It just goes back to every life.
Amen.
Yeah. And that to me is, I said on the last show with Dr. Greg
Mm-hmm.
that the CPC is a launch pad for the church.
That's right.
And it's in times like the baby shower that we get to see the church really get to shine.
That's right.
The church will come out and do what it does.
That's right.
And really shower these ladies and let them know we see you, we do care about
That's
you.
right.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Amazing.
So just to shift gears a little bit, I always kind of have to ask the hard question.
Okay.
And so the hard question, the question that people don't want to talk about when it comes to LifeWalk is the fundraising aspect of it. Okay. We want fundraising walkers. And so if you commit to participating in LifeWalk, you're making a commitment to raise the funds.
That's right.
That kind of makes people squirm a little bit, because it's like, oh, I don't like asking people for money.
Yeah.
No, nobody likes that,
Yeah.
and on the opposite end, people don't like being sold to,
That's right.
So could you tell us a little bit about how you do it? How have you seen successful fundraising happen with your family? Because I know you register as a family.
That's right. So I will say people don't hesitate to ask me to buy cookie dough or wrapping paper,
Right.
or chocolate covered almonds or whatever it is. And those things might be nice in the moment, but that's not life or death. So this matters far more. So I use our neighborhood Facebook page, knowing that not everybody in my neighborhood is pro-life.
Right.
So that sparks some conversations. I'm willing to have them. Talking to some people in the church, and then, if you've got good relationships with family members, just contact them, see if they'll. But you can get creative. My girls love to have a garage sale, so you can purge through toys and be blessed, So get rid of some stuff and let them, if they want to get rid of it and they want to charge money for it and it goes to a good cause.
Everybody wins.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. The girls have gotten interested in making bracelets, and they've tried to sell those some and set up little lemonade stands. There's all sorts of ways, but the things that we're so excited to raise money for, a lot of times are temporal, but things with CPC just aren't. They just aren't. So when we ask for money, it really goes to a great cause that's going to last.
Well, and that's one of the things that I really wanted to make sure that we covered in this part of LifeWalk, because there's so many different ways that you can raise these funds.
Yeah.
You're talking about the heart of it, and I love that. You're talking about the why. And I'm thinking about the how. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, there is a way for you to get creative and question, okay, what has God given me that I can do, that I enjoy, that I can use that for his purposes for this? I'll give you an example. Last year, my kids, I have 3 boys, and 2 of them are completely obsessed with video games. And so we decided that what we would do, and this is me trying to incorporate them and get them involved in this fundraising. We had a video game tournament. We asked the church if we could use the youth room and they have screens, they have monitors. So we brought the Nintendo Switch up there, and we registered people, and I put register in quotes because that's how you sign up. You'd make a $25 donation to our family LifeWalk page.
I see.
And that's how you sign up for the video game tournament. Well, if
Smart.
we had, 8 people, that's $200 right there.
That's great.
You get a couple more, then you win a T-shirt.
T-shirt. There you
that we're
go.
all. If you're on YouTube or social media, we are wearing this year's LifeWalk T-shirts. So if you are listening on any other podcast platform, just go check out the visual at some point. So shameless plug for the new merch. So Erin Kate, do you want to talk about the incentives?
Sure.
Speaking of that,
Sure, absolutely. This is where we have a strategy, as
Always.
always, with everything we do, especially with our life walk. As Sydney has already said, we've already talked about. We want this to be a family event. We want this to be a starting point for you and your family to have a conversation about the value of life. You may not want. I don't expect you to talk to your 3-year-old about abortion.
That's right.
But we do think that you might want to talk to them about being created in the image of God.
That's
You
right.
know, those are the things. That's the root
Mhm.
of this issue is our value and our worth and
That's
the
right.
dignity of every human being. And so, we have fundraising opportunities at every level, but also talking points at every level. And so, with our young kids, it is. Everybody starts at $250. That's the kind of the buy-in to the event. If you raise $250, you get a T-shirt. Grown-ups, teenagers, and young
Yes.
kids all have T-shirts. So the adult T-shirts, the one we're wearing today, is unfinished, and it really is about we're not done
Right.
building a culture of life. And it says until every life is protected, because there still is kind of the idea that post Roe,
That's right.
it's all done and we're an abortion-free state, which just isn't true. So this is a talking point.
That's
You're
right.
fundraising to get yourself a talking point shirt that you can wear in the community and explain, this is why I support CPC, because we still got work to do together. For the kids this year, we have the Imago Day. So in the image of God, Genesis 1:27.
Another talking point.
Another talking point for our kids. So I'll just talk about the kids for a second. So the kids' shirt, the next level for them is just a ball. It's a toy because kids like to play. And I've just been thinking about, you don't normally play with a ball by yourself. You play with somebody else. You play with another image bearer. You got this
That's right.
image of God ball to play with, and your kids can have a conversation with their friends about what that means, because it's Latin and that makes it kind of weird, and so
Right.
it's something to
I know
talk about.
Latin. But you don't know what Imago Dei means.
But we're really trying to help you have a
Yeah.
conversation. We want
Right.
this to be a place where you can talk to your kids about the issue. And then for the top level for the kids is a party. So we'll have a VIP event for our kids. We haven't announced exactly what that is yet, but
Right.
that's
So
just an
stay
opportunity.
tuned.
Yeah, and it's just an opportunity, honestly, for those kids and their parents to have a deeper connection to CPC, to actually get in and see a little bit more about what they were raising the money for and celebrate. So the teens, we have the T-shirt as well, and then a
A
hoodie,
hoodie. Mhm.
and then they have a VIP party, and then the adults, same thing, T-shirt, and then we have a travel bag this year for
Yes.
the
a
amazing.
nice
for the mid-level price.
It's called a weekender bag.
A
Okay.
weekender
For the
bag,
adults.
but you don't have to leave town to go on the mission field. And
But-
so we
yeah.
were
That's right.
thinking, that's kind of
It's
our
all part of the gospel focus.
the gospel,
you know.
to take the gospel to the ends of the earth. It starts here. And
Yeah.
so and then a VIP party for the adults. And so those are just at the different levels of fundraising. It's just fun to have incentives and
That's
a little
right.
encouragement to get you to the next level. It helps people give too. If you
It
say,
does.
hey, I just need $100 more to get to the next prize. It's just, but we love trying to really think through these things and think about what can be a good talking point, what can be a
Right.
tool, as we really want to have a conversation about abortion and this issue.
Yeah, that's really the fun part of
Yeah.
our preparation. It's almost like talking to your spouse about what you're going to get the
Yeah.
kids for Christmas this year.
Those are great choices. I
But
love
really
that.
though, I was just going to say that the incentives for the kids. I remember you talked just a second ago about school fundraisers.
Mhm.
I remember when my kid was like in 2nd or 3rd grade, something like that, and there was this like stuffed alien green
yes.
toy, whatever. Anyway, it was the thing to get. And so what we did, because he was so just determined that he wanted this thing, we did videos. And so he explained if you pledge this much or this much, then I can get this prize. And so it turns out that people on Facebook, who I may not have talked to in years, have just seen my cute kid make a plea for a little stuffed animal, and it kind of tugged at some heartstrings, and they would comment, just donated, way to go, hope you get it, So it really is part of the push. The kids like it too, but it's also probing adults to just go ahead and let the kid get the green alien toy,
Y'all's prizes are way better. Your incentives are way
Well,
better.
we work very hard to make sure.
We talk a lot about it.
Yeah, we fight about it behind the scenes, Not really. Anyway, so final thoughts. If you had to, take 30 seconds to get somebody to finally just sign on to LifeWalk 2026, what would you say?
Well, like I said earlier, with my kids, if we don't show them how to put being pro-life in action, then they're not going to grab hold of it. And so for a lot of people who are pro-life, we'll just put it off. It's a Saturday morning. It's not a lot of time. And you have people who are willing to give if you're just willing to ask to help fundraise. And it's really a lot of fun. So once you come, you're going to want to come back next year.
That's right.
It's not difficult. And I just feel that on that specific Saturday morning, the enemy loses a lot more ground. Because we're a lot more unified than the world would say. And like we talked about, it goes beyond denominational lines, political lines, racial lines. All of those things are blurred because our focus is making sure we're champions for life in our state. We don't have to make it complicated. We just have to stand together.
We don't have to make it complicated. We just have to stand together. I love that so much. Erin, Kate, final thoughts?
She wrapped it up pretty well. That's awesome.
She did.
I do. I think it really is. That's all I thought before I got here today was it really is all about us coming together and putting aside all the other little things that we could come up with. It's a very hard battle. It's a very serious battle. It is life and death. And I feel like this event is the one time, I know of believers, we're sorrowful yet always rejoicing. And I see that in this. It's we are in this together, and the Lord is glorified when we lock arms and we put aside our differences. And He gives us, this is a time where I feel like we get just a taste of heaven. We get a taste of His mercy. We get to celebrate the hope that we're telling these women is there, and this hope, this redemption that's there for women who made a different choice. We get a taste of it. So it's a bright spot in some really hard work that we do. And so it's a good place to step in fresh, or it's a good place to get renewed if you've been in the fight for a long time.
Absolutely.
So we want to see everybody there. We're looking forward to April 25th, which is our LifeWalk date this year. Just seeing everybody there and celebrating what God has done.
That's right. And we hope that this event in 2026 will just blow the lid off it. We want this to be the biggest LifeWalk event that we have ever seen. You could expect it to be really big in 2022, or 2023, the first one post Roe, because then everybody is suddenly pro-life. But now we get further away from that. And like you said earlier, people think that the work is finished. And the fact is that it just is not. I keep going back to the book of James today, but James says you have not because you ask not. Don't be afraid to ask people.
That's right.
Right? It is uncomfortable, but the gospel calls us to do uncomfortable things. So with that, we hope that you would contact us, give us a call. We would be happy to give you a hug, shake your hand with smiles on our faces on March 3rd and welcome you into this community. And if you are already involved and have been a longtime friend like Sydney, we're just going to celebrate with you as we get ready for this season. It is April 25th. Sydney, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. And we look forward to seeing you at the walk on April 25th. So don't forget the date. See you later, guys.